But as I was moving from there, they have managed to resolve that issue, and the voting has started yet. I've started. At Bakado, we have 2 stations, polling stations that they are voting. The second, that is the A, has not started yet. The officer has even not yet reported as I was living there. I've moved from there. Now I'm at Keten and Himfie. Voting is ongoing. Security is tight. And you know, here at Keten Escado, between Grace Ayensu and Chinto, and it is very tight because Grace want to take the seat from MPP. And last time around, that was 2020, the difference was 2,000. Before Grace came in, that was 2020, the difference was 14,000 between Grace and Honorable Joe Gatti. So this time around, people are saying that because Grace came close, Grace can take the seat from the NPP. So far so good. People are voting. It's just only Bakada that they haven't started yet. So for now, all the places have gone to voting have started, and they are voting smoothly.
I think that you need to go back to Bakado and check whether or not after nearly 2 hours, whether the process has started.
Yeah, I'll go back there as soon as possible. But I'm here to go to another area that's also Katan. You know, that is my area. They are closer. So I want to go around there and get back to Bakado. So when I get there and anything has happened there, I'll let you know.
John Kingsley O2 is our reporter on the ground in Ketan Esikado constituency, bringing us details there. He says that there's a particular place where the reporting, the exercise had not started as at the last time he was there. It's been 2 hours already into this 10-hour exercise because the time is now 8:59, and that means that we have done 2 hours of the 10-hour exercise. And so he will go back to that place and then ascertain whether the process has started. We can now come to the eastern region, and that's because Nana Osei Mafo is in Sawom Edudredri, and he's joining us. Okay, so he says that I think that we need to do some correction over there. So Nana Osei Mafo, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Indeed, great. So tell us, is it the understanding that there was some misunderstanding in the constituency where you are in Sawom Edudredri? What was the misunderstanding about?
Okay, so the issue actually happened at a polling center, Anglican C, Primary 1, where a grandson of a visually impaired took the grandfather to the polling center to cast his ballot. However, when he got to the station, the grandson was expecting that he would be allowed to enter the booth to cast the ballot instead of the visually impaired grandfather. But the presiding officer stopped him from entering into the booth to do that. However, the presiding officer escorted the man into the booth, and then he casted the ballot for the man. After the process, the young man, who happens to be the grandson of the visually impaired grandfather, claims the man did not vote where the grandfather wanted, which degenerated into near confusion here. However, eyewitnesses here and the voters here got into it, and then they told the presiding officer what he did wasn't the right thing to do, because that's not what the education before head is saying. So currently there's calm here, and then the process is progressing steadily at the moment.
So, you know, what you are telling us, Nana Osei Mafo, is quite interesting. So, the visually impaired voter came in the company of his son.
His grandson.
His
yes.
grandson. And his grandson, is he himself a registered voter?
Yes.
Okay. So, did his grandson also vote at the location where you are? Do you have any idea?
No, please. I don't have any idea to that. However, the issue was that the grandson was escorting the father to the booth to cast the ballot for the grandfather. However, he was prevented by the presiding officer.
So it was the presiding officer himself who assisted this visually impaired person to vote?
Yes, please.
And who was the one raising the protest that he did not vote where he had intended to vote? Who raised that protest?
The grandson who took the father to the polling center.
And so I'm curious about finding out, how did this grandson get to know that his grandfather did not vote where he had wanted to vote?
I thought that's the situation. When we approached the grandson, he said that's what he was telling him, and that he's going to go home and then bring his grandmother as well to the same polling center to vote again. So he's waiting. He's going to bring him and then also wait to see what the man will do in that regard.
Okay, so this is an interesting development, and I have never averted my mind to what happens if a visually impaired person turns up to come and vote. What does the law say? Who should assist him to vote? Is it the one who accompanied him to the ground, or is it the presiding officer? And how do we verify that whoever the person voted for is actually what the person wanted? I think that this will require some kind of witnesses, because in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, a matter is established. So this is something that will follow up from Nsawam Edudreji. But apart from this incident, is there any other issues that have arisen in Nsawam Edudreji?
Come again, please.
I'm saying that apart from this visually impaired situation, are there any other issues that have come out of Nsawam Edudreji as you have observed?
No, please. Currently, from all the police centers I've poured within the 2 hours ago, I can say that the process has been relatively calm here, and we hope that it will continue like this. And I must also say that the security agencies are all around the polling centers and ensuring the peace in the process.
Okay, so yes, thank you very much, Nana Ose Mafo, and I'm told that the name is Nsawam Edudreji. Is that correct?
Nsawam Edudreji.
Okay, great. So yes, thank you very much for your reporting. Please keep an eye on developments there in Nsawam, and we will come back to you for updates. And then the issue you raised about this visually impaired person, it is something that I would want my producers to find out. We'll follow up on it, because we need to know exactly what the process is. If somebody who is physically challenged, like a visually impaired person, he is not able to tell exactly where he wants to put his thumb, but he must say it. If he says it to one person, how do we verify that that one person did what the person wants? There must be a second person authenticating that, I believe. So we'll keep an eye on that and we'll get updates. Let's quickly go to the Ashanti region now and to Dwabin constituency. Elizabeth Yeboah is a member of Asasi newsroom staff, and she went all the way to Dwabin constituency in the Ashanti region to vote. Elizabeth, tell us, which polling station did you cast your ballot in the Dwabin constituency?
So, Wilberforce, I'm in Dwabin constituency, specifically at the old Dwabin courthouse. And here we have 2 centers. That is the old Dwabin courthouse. We have 2 centers, Center 1 and Center 2. In total, we are expecting a total number of 937 voters, rather. And for polling Center 1, we have 467 voters, and Center 2, we have 470 voters. And the MP here, the parliamentary candidates for the NDC and the NPP are both new faces. They are new to the race. For the NPP, they have Francis Owusu Chow, and the NDC has Eunice Ohinewa and Sue, both new faces. So I got here at 6:50 a.m., just when the EC officials were setting up their electoral materials, including the BVBs. And at exactly 7 a.m., the voting process started. And I must say, everything has gone smoothly so far. We've not reported any significant challenges. I myself have voted, and it doesn't take more than 2 minutes for the entire process. And with security, between both polling centers, there's a police station. So, the security presence here is very heavy. You can see the police walking around, ensuring that everything runs smoothly. Party agents from most of the parties, including the NPP, NDC, and the New Force, are here on the ground, and electoral officials are also actively assisting voters as they cast their ballots. So I spoke to the EC presiding officer, Kwame Owusu, who is here, and he is saying that with Center 1, as at now, 51 voters have voted, and with Center 2, they have a total of 40 voters. That's 91 in total as I speak. So for now, I can say out of the 937 people, only 91 have voted. But then everything here is running smoothly. The party agents here that I spoke to have expressed satisfaction with the process and how it's unfolding. The police has also assured that they are fully prepared to ensure that the process here is incident-free. And I've spoken to some voters who are saying they are confident in the integrity of the process here. This is what is happening here so far. I'll continue to monitor and bring updates.
Indeed, Elizabeth, I think this is very great reporting from you, wrapping up all the details in the summary that you have presented. Excellent reporting from Dwabin constituency, where Elizabeth Yabua traveled all the way from Accra to go and vote and has taken time off to report and to bring us updates on happenings there in the Ashanti region. Okay, so you are on Asasi Radio 99.5 in Accra, Asasi Radio 99.7 in Tamale, 100.3 in Cape Coast, 98.5 in Kumasi. And we bring in you live coverage of election 2024 here in our country. I'm being told that Caroline Sampson is joining us again from Tema Central constituency, where she is reporting for us here on Asasi Radio. So, Auntie Carol, are you back on the line? Hello, Carol. Yes, tell us.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clear. What is the update you can bring us?
Well, still in the Tema Central constituency, I am at Royal School. And over here, it's quite big. So they call it the Union polling station because they have 11 polling stations, 11 sectors situated here. And each one is very busy. I mean, it's a lot of numbers compared to where I came from. I spoke to a few of them. Some are expecting 133 voters, 544 voters, 432 voters, 402, but all over 1,000 voters today they're expecting. And they've had so far like 150. For each one, there's like 11 voters, 29 voters, 51 voters, 13 voters. And they all started after 7 a.m. So the first voters came around 7:25, 7:40, 7 a.m. prompt. And it's quite busy here. So I'm not able to talk to all of them. But the party agents that I spoke to are saying it's just running smoothly and there's no cause for alarm. So yes, we are hoping for that to be the case till 5 p.m.
Excellent. And this is the second time Caroline is reporting for us in the Tema Central constituency. Thank you very much for all these updates. We appreciate it. Okay, so Maxwell Atta is in the Bekwai constituency in the Ashanti region, and Maxwell Bekwai is joining us from one of the several polling stations in the Bekwai constituency to bring us an update. Maxwell Atta, a very good morning to you. And which of the polling stations are you in Bekwai constituency?
Well, at the moment, I have visited about 5 polling stations within Dominati electoral area. And I must say the process has been peaceful from the polling stations I've visited so far, except that the last polling station where I'm currently reporting from, there had been some brief skirmishes between party coordinator of the National Democratic Congress and then the electoral officers.
Okay, so this skirmishes you talk about, what really entailed? What does it entail? What has happened? Is it a challenge of the voting process or the challenge of a particular voter? What was the reason for the skirmishes?
Well, the party coordinator, the coordinator for National Democratic Congress, indicate that they have allowed one of their polling station agents to step out from the process, which he believes is against the electoral laws, and was expecting the 2 agents of the party to be present as they can monitor the proceeding. However, the electoral officers believe because of the limited space for the electoral process, they were expecting at least a party agent from each of the political parties participate in the process, unlike allowing the two of them to be observing the process at the same time due to a limited space for each agent.
All right. So, Maxwell, excellent work there done for Asasi Radio in the Bekwai constituency. Have you spotted any of the parliamentary candidate contestants? So, for the MPP I know is Raphael Poku Edusei. For the NDC, have you spotted any of these candidates in the areas where you have visited?
Not at the moment. Few hours to this electoral process, I've been engaged in the contestants for the various political parties. As I indicated, I spoke to Ralph Opoku in a while ago, but he did indicate that he's expecting to cast his ballot at 12 noon at Kokofu polling station. The same applies to the other contestants. I do understand that this is a traditional seat for the New Patriotic Party, and they have won virtually all the parliamentary elections since 1996, except one in recent time where Mr. Juwai contested as independent candidate and later on joined the party.
Indeed, Maxwell Atta, thank you for your great reporting from the Bekwai constituency. Keep an eye on developments there. It's a must-watch constituency. And so we will come back to you for better and further particulars there. All right, so we've been going crisscrossing this country, all 16 regions, bringing you updates on election 2024. If you check with your time, it is 13 minutes past the hour of 9, which means that we have done 2 hours and 13 minutes into this 10-hour exercise. That again means that we have 7 hours and some 47 minutes to go to end this election exercise in our beloved Republic, Ghana. One of the important establishments, in fact, the most important in this election exercise is actually the Electoral Commission. And they have set up a location in their office for the media to be reporting and giving updates. Our lady in Shira Kwabi is there at the Electoral Commission offices, and we are going to touch base with her to know exactly what is happening over there at the Electoral Commission. Inshira, good morning to you. What can you tell us from where you are at the EC office? Okay, Inshira, can you hear me?
Hello.
Indeed, yes. So, Inshira, can you bring us an update of what is happening at the EC head office?
Hello.
Inshira, let's try it again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Indeed. I'm asking, what can you report from the Electoral Commission head office?
Okay, so we are at the Electoral Commission headquarters, the 8-story building, and currently security is beefed up here. The military is here, the police is here, the barriers and the borders are all set up, and the set for the first India, which was expected to take place at 9 a.m. However, it is yet to. But we can see that some observers are here to also observe the situation and also to observe all the processes, and all the EC officials who are expected to be present here are also here.
Okay, so are you? Did you say that you are expecting a briefing from the Electoral Commission?
Yes, we expect the Electoral Commission to brief us this morning. There are going to be various briefings at 9 a.m., 12 a.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m., and 9 p.m. And so this is going to be the first briefing, and that's waiting currently. Just before that, the IGP was here just a few minutes ago. He inspected the place. He drove up. He's going to the headquarters, and they are also going to have briefing there.
Okay, so yes, indeed, the Electoral Commission are putting out there that it is going to do periodic briefing as the exercise commences. We are waiting for the first of the several briefings that we are expecting throughout the day to happen. Inshira Kwabi is our lady embedded in the offices of the Electoral Commission, and once the briefing starts, we will pause and go for that briefing. We are with the Electoral Commission throughout this day. We are everything that they are doing will be live here on Asasi Radio. If they do it, it will be live here. no matter what the time is, no matter the circumstances. Electoral Commission, very, very important stakeholder, the lead stakeholder in this exercise of covering election 2024. Check with your time. It is 16 minutes past the hour of 9 here on Asasi Radio. It is 99.5 in Accra, 100.3 in Cape Coast, 98.5 in Kumasi, and 99.7 in Tamale. We're bringing you a live coverage of the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections that is taking place in our country. And our reporters are all over the place, all over the 276 constituencies in our country. They are bringing us all the 9 yards, everything happening in this election exercise. I thank you very much indeed for keeping your dials here on Asasi Radio. It is such a privilege to have your company here on Asasi as we cover this ongoing election exercise. Now, we want to take a quick trip to Tamale South constituency, where we have our correspondent on the line joining us to bring us an update there from the Tamale South constituency. All right, so I believe our correspondent there is Baba Camille. Baba Camille, good morning to you again. Yes, and thank you for joining us one more time. I understand that you are in the Tamale South constituency currently.
Exactly.
Indeed. What can you report from the Tamale South constituency? Which of the polling stations are you and what is happening?
All right. So I am currently at the Namashabu polling station A. That particular polling station has been segregated into two. We have polling station A as well as polling station B. And at the polling station A, one woman with the name Esther Poku has just been disenfranchised. She actually told me that she transferred her vote from Nkranza to Tamale, specifically Tamale South constituency. But as we speak now, she brought her voter ID card, and the presiding officer, Mr. Lukman, told her that her name cannot be found in the voters, register. So she is stranded as we speak now, but she is insisting that she wants to vote for her preferred candidate. She actually told me that she has been voting in this particular polling station for a very long time, but she cannot understand why her name cannot be found in the voters register.
So, okay, so this is an interesting development. And what is the presiding officer saying?
So the presiding officer is saying that once her name cannot be found in the voters register, it will be extremely difficult for them to actually allow her to vote. So, like I told you, that particular polling station is segregated into two, A and B. So according to the woman, she went to the A and they told her that her name is not there So she was asked to come to the B. And the B too, the same. Her name cannot be found in the voters register. So I can say that she has been disenfranchised as we speak now.
Okay, I didn't get it earlier on whether or not she presented her voter's ID card. Did she?
Yes, she did that. She's actually carrying her voter's ID card. I got an opportunity to actually, look at it. And the presiding officer was explaining to me that her vote is not here in the northern region. Because when you look at the vote, probably is from, Prong Ahafo region. So, but according to the woman, she did a transfer from Mpanza to Tamale South constituency, and she has been voting there. But this time around, she cannot understand why her name is not in the voters, register. So she told me that she wants to present her Ghana card to vote, but the presiding officer, Mr. Lukman, is saying that no, that can never be possible. You must present your voter's ID card. Today, the Ghana card is not working, but she's still insisting that she wants to vote.
Okay, so this is an interesting development, and the lady in question obviously has to be assisted by the presiding officer to rectify this situation. If her voter's ID card is identifying her as belonging to that polling station, and it is the situation that she is not on the voters register, then there's a possibility that she is on other aspects of the register. You know that there is there are various other allocations. There are some people who attempted to register, their processes did not go properly. They were moved from the main register to other forms of register. I'm struggling to get the names because I didn't keep all those names in my head, but there are various things that could happen to someone who is a card bearing a card or a voter's ID card. And so I can understand the frustration, but I think that the presiding officer is the best person to help this person to be able to vote or not. Keep an eye on this, Baba Camille, and let's get an update, because one person's vote is as important as every other person's vote. And so it's important that everybody who comes out to vote be allowed to do that voting. And so keep an eye on this development, and when we come to you next, bring us an update. That's Baba Camille. He's in the Tamale South constituency. But Baba, before I let you go, is there any other reporting that you can bring to us apart from this one incident you are talking about?
All right, so with regards to this woman's issue, somebody actually advised her to go to the regional directorate of the Electoral Commission to actually lay a complaint. Maybe they may assist her to actually come and exercise her franchise, because like he indicated, one person's vote is very, very, very important. So back to Tamale Central. As we speak now, the member of parliament for Tamale Central constituency has just come to actually exercise her franchise as we speak now, and she and he's currently interacting with the media.
Okay, and so you are talking about Haruna Idrisu there?
No, I'm talking about Murtala Mohammed.
Murtala Mohammed,
okay.
Tamale okay, all right, great. Okay, and so Baba, let's leave you for now, and we'll come back to you again in the Tamale area to give us a bit more updates. For now, let's go to Princeton. Princeton Oredu is in the Klole Kote constituency. He is reporting for us from that constituency. He tells us that the British High Commissioner to Ghana, and Harriet Thompson, has visited some polling stations in the Klole Kote constituency, and she also interacted with members of the media. Princeton, if you are on the line now, can you tell us, bring us updates on what's been happening in the Klole Kote constituency?
Hi, Oberforce. Good morning. I believe you're asking about the Klole constituency, and as you mentioned, the British High Commissioner Harriet Thompson has been touring the constituency this morning. The first one she visited was the YWCA polling station. That is very close to the YMCA polling station. And it's very, very calming. And as she mentioned to the media, she's happy with the process so far and how Ghanaians have embraced this elections. And she's also happy with how Electoral Commission has organized everything. Also happy with security and how everything is managed. One interesting thing that she mentioned was that Ghana enjoys high electoral turnout than the UK, and that is very interesting. She also says she expects very close core elections this year. So some interesting remarks from the British High Commissioner Harris Thompson. We'll be following her and we'll see how she will fare in this whole process. But as to the story of the Kwesi constituency, this year we are expecting 105,852 voters to cast their votes this year in 229 polling stations in 11 electoral areas. I've been to the Accra Technical University this morning. In fact, the electoral materials arrived as early as 4 a.m. 30 minutes later, voters started arriving to queue up and get their vote cast in the process. But there were some issues of voters not identifying the polling stations because the registration process, they had different areas. The reason is the Accra Technical University is undergoing a construction work over there, so there were some changes as to where they vote, but the presiding officer intervened and things were sorted out, so people are now voting over there. It started actually at 7 a.m. exactly. Then to the YMCA, where voting also started at 7 a.m. exactly. And I must say that it's very, very calm here. The process is ongoing. And in terms of security, it is good. At least I've seen one police officer in each of the police stations that I've visited. Sometimes you see some of them joining, them 2 or 3 joining, and then they will move out. But the permanent numbers are always one at each police station that I've visited. I must say that the process is, this whole process is disability friendly because I've seen some few persons with disability, they come in and their wheelchairs, and the presiding officers, even the voters who are in queue, allow them to join in fact, go ahead of them and cast their vote. So I spoke to the persons with disability. They were very happy that their fellow Ghanaians have allowed them to cast their votes without any setbacks. And so, and these are the remarks that I've heard here at the Kwesi constituency. Everything is smooth so far. You know that it's a very interesting election this year for this constituency, simply because the seat has been held by the National Democratic Congress since 2016, and the oldest daughter of Ghana's first president, former President Jerry John Rawlings, Senator Ajiman Rawlings, she's been in the seat. Not this year, this election, she's facing a competition from Valentino Nino Enoti, who is the parliamentary candidate for the NPP. He contested in the last elections as an independent candidate. Was out of contention. He had around 3,900 votes. This time around, can he pull more votes for his party? Because the gap between Senator and the former candidate in that election, Philip Koju Addison, was a little over 3,000. And I must mention that the number of voters has increased here in the Kwesi constituency this year. Last election in 2020 was 99,000, over 99,000. This year we are expecting over 100,000 voters. So these are the dynamics here, and we'll see how it goes. So here are the Kwesi constituency.
All right, so that's Princeton Redu for your fantastic reporting there. We can take a listen to the British High Commissioner Harriet Thompson when she spoke with journalists after observing the voting process in the Kwesi constituency.
So far, how do you make of the process, the electoral process?
Well, it's very early days so far, but as you can see, things are proceeding very smoothly and calmly here. No queues, very quiet. We hope that today continues in this way.
Right. Initially, we were having concerns about our security issues. Ghana Armed Forces, or the security task force, assured Ghanaians that they are not going to be part of this electoral process. Yesterday, there was a statement that was issued that we have military presence or military deployed. What do you say about this?
So it's been really helpful to see the very clear messaging coming out of Ghana Armed Forces, coming out of the police service, and also from the candidates, from the Electoral Commission and others at the signing of the Peace Pact last week. Those outward strong signals of commitment to peace from the key actors in this process are absolutely crucial. It's very clear from the statements from the armed forces and from the IGP, the circumstances, limited circumstances in which the armed forces would be called in to deal with any situation. But I know from conversations with the Inspector General of Police that he has led the Election Security Task Force very impressively. They have very comprehensive plans in place, and so we're confident that those correct protocols will be followed.
So that means there are no issues with the deployment of the military?
So my understanding from what the armed forces have said is that the military will be present, they will be ready to act should they need to act, but they will only act if the Inspector General of Police calls on them to act, and that's entirely as it should be.
Okay, you have been to a few of the polling stations in the constituency. What do you make of the general attitude now?
So this is the first polling station that I've been to actually this morning, and as you can see, it's very calm, very peaceful, no queues, and as I said earlier, we very much hope that's how things will continue through the day.
Okay, so on the whole, what's your expectations like for this year's elections?
So my expectations is we're a close run thing according to all of the polls, but we know how unreliable polls can be, so that's no guarantee of what will actually happen. In terms of the process, the various bodies who have a role to play in running this election are very, very well prepared. We know that Ghanaians are deeply committed to their democracy. That's one of the values that the UK and Ghana absolutely shares. And we are hoping to see Ghanaians come out in their numbers to exercise their democratic right to vote. Ghana enjoys really high electoral turnout, better than the UK, and that's a real sign of commitment to people having a say in who runs their country and the leaders that they choose to serve them, and we hope to see more of that next year.
So you heard the British High Commissioner to Ghana, Harriet Thompson, speaking to journalists after she visited certain polling stations in the Klolekote constituency to observe the ongoing electioneering process here in our beloved Republic, Ghana. Now, you know, I've been joined by Dr. Tutu Buahin. He is a political marketing consultant. He is also a lecturer at the Winneba University of Education in Winneba. Yes, and he's joining us this morning. There will be other guests who will be joining us, and I know he's having his breakfast, so I'm not going to interrupt him, but just to establish that you're here. Good morning to you, Dr. Buahin.
Good morning, Wilberforce.
And thank you very much for your patronage and for your dedication to Asasi Radio. We appreciate it. So just feel free, as we go on with the coverage, I'll be coming to you. I wanted to establish presence that you are here. But you know, I found out some interesting post on Facebook, and this is the post. It says that the ant, because of hatred for the cockroach, voted for the insecticide. They all died, including the cricket, who was not involved.
Exactly.
Please think about this very, very deeply before you take certain decisions today. It's election day. Let me repeat it again. The ant, because of the hatred for the cockroach, voted for the insecticide. They all died, including the cricket, who was not involved.
Very innocent.
Prof, what do you make of this interesting quotation that I've just chanced on
this
on
quotation
Facebook?
Actually brings to mind. Okay, before that, let me say good morning to viewers and listeners. You know, it brings to mind a book that we read in primary school, the Tree version, Asem in Penipa. You know, and there is this scenario where, you know, the tortoise was resting in the cool of the day, and the bird, which has also feasted on insects and had become full, was enjoying the day and was making loud noise, in the forest. And so the tortoise wanted to send a signal to the bird, to just reduce the noise, and if it can't keep quiet. So it went through, the twine to get the information to, the bird. And the bird was like, you should better shut up. If you can't sleep, you should just go roaming. I mean, after all, if I'm making noise, what is his bother? And so the tortoise sent another message. Perhaps a hunter may hear you, trace your sound, and probably may kill you. So, but if the hunter kills me, that's not your business. So, yes, I know it is not my business, but I may be innocent, but I will end up being a victim. So, my friend, if you are not comfortable here, find a place and go. So, the twine gave advice to the tortoise that, Masa, just keep quiet and be somewhere. After what? Unfortunately, or fortunately, the hunter heard the sound, shot at the bird, killed the bird, and the bird unfortunately fell where tortoise was resting. So 1 bullet, 2 opportunities. Picked the bird and picked the tortoise as well. Wanted the rope to tie, and then the same rope that communicated the message was cut, to tie. So in this life, what it means is that your actions and inactions, decisions and indecisions have effects, on the very innocent people around you. And that means that you cannot be an island on your own and believe that that decision that you are taking, when shove become push, you are the one who is going to suffer. No. You are not the only person.
Indeed. And that is why the proverb that we are just reading, it says that the ant, because of hatred for the cockroach, voted for the insecticide. But the ant's vote, which was the insecticide, had the power to kill both the ants and the cockroach.
Exactly.
And then it says that they both died, including an innocent bystander, which is the cricket. So you see, voting, that is why I find it a bit fascinating when someone says that I am not voting. If you are not voting, it may be a protest, but again, you are empowering another person, into victory. Now, when that person comes to power and you are like, oh, this is not the candidate I wanted, even if you don't pronounce it to the hearing of others, what it means is that you become so much guilty of yourself. All right. But whoever comes to power without your vote will take certain decisions that will not, probably it will not affect you directly, but others, may suffer for it. So voting, is a civic responsibility. That explains that you are part of governance. So be part of it. Don't think that something has happened a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That phenomenon probably might have changed and you are still glued to that position, and that you are saying you are not going to vote, or you are going to vote but you are going to empower a decision which probably may not help you. Indeed. And so, yes, take a cue from it. Everybody who, if you are at the sound of our voice and you haven't stepped out of your home yet to go and vote, for those of you listening in Tamale on 99.7 in Tamale on Asase, we entreat you, step out of your homes, go and vote. Those of you listening to us in Cape Coast on 100.3, please and please again, step out of your homes, get out there and go and vote. Don't be like the ant, probably. Don't go and vote for the insecticide. Vote for what will preserve you. vote for what will keep you. Because if you vote for the insecticide because you are angry with the cockroach, you probably will die together with the ant, because the insecticides can kill both of you.
Another view that I want to put across is that voting is not about anger. All right, you probably may not like an ideology, but that shouldn't be an expression of anger, because if you are angry, rationality doesn't set in. You become too emotional, and if you are not careful, emotional decisions, will not probably bring, an output that you desire for yourself in the country.
So mpanyinfoɔ sɛ yɛmfa ebufuo nyɛ bibia.
Yeah. So if you tip preocupe epo sia emoja neba.
Wo de ebufuo yɛ bibia nyɛ ye. All right. So yes, again, let me just read this problem for you again, so that we can move on and do other reporting. So the thing about it is that the ant, because of hatred for the cockroach, voted for the insecticide. They all died, including the cricket, who was not involved. Please think very deeply before you take certain decisions. Today is decision day in elections, but think about it before you take a decision to vote. All right, so the situation at Ramania School. So yes, it's Ramania School Polling Center in the Tema East constituency is so boring and uneventful. It is boring because it is going smoothly according to the expected procedure and without incident. And that is a message from Abdul Basit Mahama on Facebook. He says that it is boring because the process is going smoothly. All right, so let it remain boring. Yeah. Let everywhere in the country remain boring. Let everything go smoothly.
In fact, I voted before coming.
Okay.
And I spent less than 10 minutes. In fact, I actually introduced myself and said that I was coming, to for a radio discussion. So they gave me. But when we check the flow, I mean, the person, as at the time I joined, the person was last. By the time I was leaving, it was about his turn to vote.
To vote, okay.
So I think that if you are not careful, by 3-4 p.m., voting may be ending.
Because everybody who wants to vote would have voted.
Yes.
Yeah. I am going to go and vote when I get off the set this afternoon. So I will be off the set at around 12. And then I will go and do my voting and then come back later on in the course of the process. And so my colleagues are joining me very soon. They are going to be taking over from me as we step aside. Sometime around 11:30 thereabout, we will step aside so that I will step aside so that Caleb will take over your radio and bring you. Caleb together with Fritz, I believe, will take over, and then we will come back later on when results are trickling in. But for now, you are on Asasi Radio, and if you check the clock, it is 43 minutes past the hour of 9. That means that we have done 2 hours 43 minutes into this 10-hour exercise. It's 10 hours because it started at 7 and it's ending at 5 p.m. And so from 7 to 12 is 5 hours. From 12 to 5 is another 5 hours. And that makes it 10 hours exercise. Having done 2 hours and 43 minutes, it means that we are left with about how many? We are left with about 7 hours and some 15 minutes to complete the process. So there is time, but it is better you get out now and go and vote. No procrastination. Step out. And when you step out to vote, the advice is that don't be like the angry ant who was angry at the cockroach and went to vote for the insecticide. The insecticide ended up killing both the ants and the cockroach. And then sadly, the cricket who was minding his business also got affected.
If your decisions, the outcome of your decisions is going to affect you alone, then of course there wouldn't be any problem. But if it is going to affect innocent lives, then you need to think and think again. Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
So what I'm saying is that, if the outcome of your decisions is actually affecting you alone as a person and not even affecting your son or your daughter, then that is fine. But if your decisions is going to affect the lives of innocent people, then in that situation you need to give it a consideration and ponder over it and know that the outcome is going to benefit other people, but not you alone. You see, in the principles of ethics, ethical philosophies, they talk of the general good. So if you are embarking on a decision, you must not just look at the benefit that accrue to you, but for the general good, what will benefit a larger group of people.
Indeed. Eunice Champoma is asking on Facebook, so Wobafosasari, you couldn't vote during the special voting exercise. I see. I don't vote during the special voting exercise. I have never done one before. I think that the election is the election day, like today. So, Eunice, I'm sorry. I never vote during special voting. I vote on 7th December. And today, 7th December, I'm going to go and vote. When I finish voting, I'll call you to tell you that I voted. And then Samuel Ofosuban says that, Emfa when once now who ebufu embre ukro. To wait. Don't be angry with the fly and hurt your wound.
In fact, specifically the housefly.
The housefly. Okay, yes. So it's a housefly. The housefly, when you have a saw and the housefly is roaming around and wants to touch the saw or something, and you out of anger because the housefly is there, you hit it because you want to kill the housefly, but you actually ended up hurting yourself.
You actually end up bleeding.
Bleeding, yes, because the housefly most often than not will fly away.
Yeah, it's smarter than you.
Yeah, So thank you very much, Samuel Ofosuban, for your message. Quite intriguing with all the tree mix. I'm glad I was able to read the tree properly. Okay, so you are on Asasi Radio 99.5 in Accra. It is 100.3 in Cape Coast, 98.5 in Kumasi, and 99.7 in Tamale. We are bringing you a live coverage of election 2024. It has started in earnest across some 40,000 polling stations in the country. In fact, the last count, the polling stations, 40,648 of them. And the total number of persons who are expected to vote in this exercise, 18,640,811 persons registered on Ghana's electoral voters register, and they are all expected to cast their ballots today. Obviously, not all 18 million people will come up, but at least a lot more people. If we even get 16 million people turning out to vote, that would be very good. 16 million out of the 18 million, extremely good. For the country's democratic development. And so we encourage everybody who is listening to us, wherever you find yourself, whether you are home, whether you are in a car, whether you are going all the way to the market, whether you are going to work, wherever it is that you're going, please, we encourage you, step out there and go and cast your ballot. I've just seen Sedem Ofori. I think he has gone to vote. So he voted, and then after that he came to the office. Sedem, you are welcome to the office. Okay. All right. So there is Safo who says that, hello, can you please check on Yezizu and Yagaba? You didn't call your reporters from Northeast region, my beloved constituency. Okay, so Safo says that we should go to Yezizu. Is that not where Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia voted? I think that's where he voted. Maybe, yes. I'll just check. But we will go to Northeast region and we will get an update from our correspondent there in Al Hassan. My producers are working the line for us to get that. Okay, so
all our polling stations at all our constituency collation centers, all our regional collation centers, and our media, our National Collation Center to the media. We have to date accredited some 10,000 media men and women to cover activities in the field. The media will have first-hand verified information on all aspects of our work. This is a testament of the values that the Commission holds dear. Values of transparency, values of accountability, values of integrity, values of inclusiveness, and values of responsiveness. We believe that by enabling our media partners to cover all aspects of our work, we will inject the needed transparency into all aspects of our work. This would provide the citizenry with vital information and help eliminate and reduce completely the suspicions that had hitherto characterized our work. Ultimately, we have no doubt that this would help to cement the peace and stability of our country. Our media partners, over the next 3 days, and to the citizens of Ghana, over the next 3 days, we will provide you with up-to-date situation reports and address the concerns of citizens. We are aware that you have your teams in the field, and so if there are any issues, we urge that you bring them up for the Commission to address those issues in a timely manner. In the spirit of responsiveness, we have a toll-free number that will be made available by our Deputy Chairman for Operations when he takes up the stage. And this is the number that has been put out in the media. We encourage our citizens to call that number. We have able men and women behind the telephones, and they are willing and ready to take any issues or concerns you have to enable us address this in a timely manner. We encourage you, the citizens of this nation, to walk this journey with us. A journey of transparency, a journey of responsiveness, a journey of accountability to you, the citizenry, and a journey of inclusiveness. We are keen to ensure that we include you in all aspects of our work, and that any interested citizen will, in the comfort of their homes, be able to follow our processes. You are our stakeholders, and it is in that spirit that we provide you with the details and all aspects of our work. We thank the good Lord for what he has started. Indeed, reports reaching us indicate that the elections are proceeding well across the length and breadth of this country. And we are confident that the good Lord who has started this process, this good process, will bring it to a good and expected end. In Jesus' name, amen. We declare the National Collation Center opened in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. We thank all of you. May God bless our homeland Ghana and make his beloved nation great and strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this point, the Deputy Chair in charge of operations will give us the first 3-hour update on the polling process. Thank you very much. Mr. Tete, you are welcome to the podium.
Good morning once again to you all. And on behalf of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, who happens to be the returning officer for the 2024 presidential elections, the head of his directors, and the entire staff of the commission, presents to you the first briefing on the 2024 general elections. We all know that polls are expected to start at 7 and end at 5 p.m. Reports indicates that as at 7 a.m., all polling centers, almost all polling centers, have opened across the nation. About 99% of all our polling stations have opened and working. With respect to our equipment, the main one, which is the biometric verification devices, most all the devices functioning perfectly, with the exception of 1 or 2 police stations where we had reports of problem with starting the BVDs. However, we know that we have technicians who put those things or fix them. They quickly went there and rebooted BVDs. Apart from that, we also have spare BVDs. So in case a BVD is not able to start, we fall on the spare. So currently, as we are speaking, all the BVDs at the polling stations are effectively working. We also deployed all our election materials to the polling stations before the start of poll. All election materials were deployed to the polling stations before of polls, and all officials were also present at their polling stations. At each polling station we have the presiding officer, we have the name reference list officer, the verification officer, the ballot issuer for the presidential, and the ballot issuer for the parliamentary. We have also noted that at all the police stations we have the presence of the security personnel, and you can also attest to the fact that this is one of the main reasons why we have very peaceful environment. We haven't actually had any reported incidents of either violence or quarreling or whatever. With respect to agents at the polling stations, the 2 main political parties have their agents at all the polling stations. However, the other parties either have some of them, some of the polling stations, others also not there. But we have agents on the average for Mr. Alan Chematin, Nana Kwame Bidiako, the LPG, we have the GCPP, and then the APC. We also have reported cases of the presence of election observers, both local and international. We have the INEC, we also have CODIUM, we have ECOWAS, we have the presence of the EU, as well as the Commonwealth. So basically, this is a brief report from the start of polls at 7 till this time. We will give you the next updates when the time is due. That's at 12 o'clock. Thank you. Yes, sorry. The toll-free number is 0800 324 324. I repeat, 0800 324 324. Thank you. So voters can still check their names to find out where they are expected to vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Teti. At this point, we'd like to invite a few questions, maximum 5 questions, if you do have, for the Deputy Chair to respond.
Some machine, I don't know, generator. The sun, that's going up now.
Check. Media, any question? Please, your question should relate to the first 3 hours of polling. Okay, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kokwalo Maso. I work with Pan-African TV. I want to find out from the commissioner, has she received any reported cases of the military being involved in the elections already? Because we have received reports that there are some men in uniform at some polling centers, and we do know for a fact that this is not allowed. Under whose purview does this fall, and then what's she going to do about it? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Fauzuma Saudu. I work with CTFM and Channel 1 TV. And I just want the Commission to clarify really quickly, what are the arrangements the Commission has made as regards the certain distance of party agents to the polling station? Because I know, for instance, Kaikui Central, a pocket of, chaotic incident nearly marred the process to a point where voting even had to grind to a halt. So I just want to find out really quickly, what are the arrangements, the distance between, and then because this is the first press, I thought the Electoral Commission would take this as an opportunity to also address concerns by the NDC about the exposure of some validating stamps by your staff. Thank you.
Okay, I am Araba Edu with GH1 TV, Star FM, EIB Network for short. Now, in the Wejagbawe constituency, we understand that parliamentary pick sheets are yet to arrive, delaying the commencement of voting. What does the EC have to say about that?
My name is Samuel Adoba. I work with TV Africa. A report coming from New Wejagbawe, which is polling station code and pre-sheet is different, which is Wejagbawe voting on hold now. Voting on hold, New Weja, over differences in polling station code and pre-sheet. I don't know whether the Commission is aware of this issue.
Finally, on Mawina with TV3, I want to find out from the Commission what the directive on the use of indelible ink is, because I visited some polling stations as at this morning where some voters did not use the indelible ink before they left the voting centers. It caused a cause for concern for others who were in the queue, why persons were not being allowed or insisting on the use of the indelible ink.
Thank you very much.
I find the issue of indelible ink difficult to believe, and I think that it's important that you provide the Commission with the actual place where this incident happened, the actual polling station where this incident happened, because indelible ink is very much part of our system, and so to ensure the accuracy of this information, it's important that you provide details. I would ask, I think I'll answer one more question, and that has to do with the presence of the military. That has not been brought to our attention. And it's important for all Ghanaians to know that the Electoral Commission of Ghana has one role, and that role is to conduct free, fair, transparent, and credible elections. Security is not part of our functions. And I think when you look at our laws, whether it is the CI 91, CI 127, and the Constitution of Ghana, you recognize that security is not part of our functions. And we do not know the security strategy of the security agencies. Granted, the Electoral Commission has a seat at the Election Security Task Force at the national, regional, and district levels, but it is limited to the provision of security agencies, policemen in our printing houses, working with us to transport the ballot papers to the armories, protecting our equipment in the armories, protecting our offices as well. But as to the deployment, who goes where and who is deployed, we are not privy to that. What we know is that on the National Election Security Task Force, and I believe this runs through, it is headed by the Inspector General of Police, but you have at the national level, you have the Director General of the Immigration, the head of the Customs, the head of the Fire Service, the head of the Army, the head of the Army, and I believe the head of the Immigration. And as the Electoral Commission also sits there. But we, as we mentioned, our involvement is really restricted to the movement of our activities, the protection of our installations by the police, the supervision or the observation of the printing, and so on and so forth. As to the security deployment, we are not aware, and we are not privy to it. So we would, we would investigate these issues that you have made. It's important that when you make these, you raise these issues, you are very direct and you provide information as to where those things are. But in terms of security, we have no hand in it, and we do not make security arrangements. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, the returning officer. So we have two other questions. The first one is the distance, the certain distance. And I will not say that we have maybe 100 meters, 200 or 3. The rule is that the agents are to sit at a place where they can observe the process. It is only in this part, or let's say this place, that you have agents sitting on the neck of election officials. This should not be so. You find agents very close and then sitting on the neck. They don't even have a space to breathe. They are expected to sit at a distance that they can observe the process. Then this issue of exposure of some validating stamp. What we do is very simple. What is in the public domain is wrong. When we are packaging the election materials, we put them in an envelope and put it into the ballot box. It is only the indelible ink that we put into a rubber because of a possible spillage. So the assertion that we have exposed validating stamps is not correct. Then which other question? Yes. Yeah, the wager Bawe, that one, it hasn't actually come to our attention. So we will investigate and then give you a report on it. Thank you. Hello.
We can update it in the subsequent one. That was a stamp. The new issue parliamentary and
reports, yes, indicates that there hasn't been any delay. The issue is just a swap of the pin sheets for 2 police stations. So it's just a matter of sending the swapped pin sheet to the correct police station. So it's just a swap. That is the update that we have. Thank you. So voting is still ongoing.
Thank you very much. As you've been told, we're going to give you 3 hourly updates on the voting process and how things are faring in the field. Our next press briefing will be at 12 noon. We'll follow it up with 3 p.m., 6 p.m., and then we'll end at 9 p.m. for today. So thank you, members of the press. You are welcome. Stay with us as we share the situation on the ground with voters and the Ghanaian public. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome back. That was the Electoral Commission's first press conference for the day. And as you heard them say, it's going to be between every 3 hours. The Commission is going to come us with a press conference to know exactly what's happening.
Check with your time. It is 17 minutes past the hour of 10. That means that we have been voting here in the Republic of Ghana from 7 a.m. till 10:17. That makes it 3 hours and 17 minutes into the 10-hour exercise here in the Republic of Ghana, where we are electing the next president of our country and also 276 members of parliament. Thus far, we have been having reports from various places across the country, all 16 regions, visiting Ashanti, Ahafo, Central Region, Eastern Region, the Northern Region, the Northeast Region, Upper East and Upper West. We've been to several places bringing you updates on the ongoing voting exercise in our country. We have also gone to the offices of the Electoral Commission where they've been addressing a press conference. The EC has put up a number. It's a toll-free number. It's not toll-free, it's toll-free. So the number is 0800324324. So it's more of 0800324324. And you can reach the Electoral Commission on this number. If there is any disturbances anywhere you find yourself, please call the Electoral Commission. They will deal with it. So Abdul Basit Mahama is posting on Facebook and saying that the first question after EC presser is vague. He says that it says they have reported some military personnel are in some polling centers without naming those centers. The EC should not answer such a question. And so that is the concerns that Abdul Basit Mahama is raising over there. Please, can you check Volta region to see that everything is all right? And that is according to Atikpo Nicholas. Atikpo, I think everything is going very well in the Volta region. Our correspondent has reported that everything is going very, very well. So yes, you are here on your Election Nerve Center, and I have a panel who have assembled, and we are going to be going to them intermittently as we go about this live coverage. We started our coverage at 6 a.m. and so we are 4 hours into the process, and thus far so good. My guests who are in the studio, I have Dr. Tutu Boahin. Dr. Tutu Boahin is a political marketing consultant, and he's also a lecturer at the Winneba University of Education, Winneba. Yes, University. I keep forgetting the University Education aspect of it. Thank you very much, Dr. Tutu Boahin, for coming. And then Mr. Kwame Jantwa is also here in the studio, member of the Convention People's Party. The party is contesting this election. The party is poised to win, and Mr. Jantwa has voted already. I think Mr. Jantwa voted for the CPP presidential candidate. Mr. Jantwa, can you confirm or deny that?
Why do you want to know why I voted for? You've tried. You tried during the week, but you didn't succeed. You are still trying.
Mr. Jantwa, you won't confirm or deny.
Why should I confirm or deny? It's my private vote.
Yes, but if you're a member of the CPP,
who do you expect me to vote for?
Yes, so you should be able to. Prof, I think you should take this seat. Yes, I think you should be able to say confidently.
You've already said. Well, you said I'm what? Member of the CPP. So who do you expect me to vote for?
Okay, all right. Okay, so it's only Mr. Jantwa that I can ask such questions. And then Professor Eche Sikanku is also here in the studio. Professor Sikanku, good morning to you.
Good morning, boss.
And I know you are a professor at the University of Ghana.
University of Media Arts and Communication.
Oh, it's the University of Media Arts and Communication. Yes, formerly GIG. Yeah. Yes, it's my alma mater. So, yeah. Okay, so Prof, you are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm sure all of you guys have been observing the process thus far.
Everything is fine. Center. And so here is La Presby.
Single vote, one person can make a difference. Okay, no. Make a come go no if I get difficult money is small. You want him by voting. Member me yale blow. Ona chiamba. Wo no fair no you fine. No fair no. It no smooth. What winner? What piano? Me ya share.
Very, very quiet, very smooth. The two things I observed, which I commented on. I think a lady drove in, and I know her very well, and she works for the Bank of Ghana, and where I voted is the Bank of Ghana Training School. So she drives in, and she goes to the Electoral Commission representative standing, who calls people 2 by 2 to go and vote. Then I don't know what they say. She's coming to the queue. Then the Electoral Commissioner rep calls her again and says, "Oh, madam, you can go." So the people in the queue now start asking, Mr. Electoral Commissioner, why did you let the lady go? Oh, she's part and parcel of the school. We said, so what? So we sitting here, what are we? Are we not all Ghanaians? Is there any, what do you call it, favoritism here? And so I noted that if there could be some untoward challenge, it could also stem from the Electoral Commission rep. So I confronted them, and they were apologizing. I said, don't apologize. And I also went to confront her, and I said to her, don't do that again. People have been sitting here waiting. You just can't come in your 4x4 and just, expect to, usurp people's right of waiting. So we ended there. But I realized also that in the polling booth, the tissues that they gave, people just leave it in the polling booth.
After they have used it?
Yes, after they've used it.
Clean the indelible?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
No.
There was no...
There's no dust.
There was no bins near there. So I went back and I told the Electoral Commission, and I told the lady that, please, if you're here, if you say this place, you're part and parcel of it, then go and bring bins and place it everywhere. Because I also saw that sachet water wrappers, after people drinking it, you just throw it in bottles, just throw it away. But if there are bins, they'll put it in the bin. But so far, it's been smooth.
So the process going on smoothly.
Yes.
Professor H.S. Sikanko, you have also observed the process.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
What would you describe it as being? The first. So we voted for 3 hours and 24 minutes. Yes.
And just before Prof comes, and for some of us, after we finish here, we are going round. Party has given us orders to go round and also check to see the smoothness of it. But it is after the voting. That's where the challenge is. So
okay,
you will see.
All
probably post-mortem.
Yeah, we will come and do it. No problem.
Yes. No, I think I'll agree with the sentiments expressed so far. We haven't heard of any serious skirmishes. Of course, there have been some challenges here and there, but there haven't been any very serious situations. I was even monitoring it from sources in Kumasi and different places, apart from Accra. And I think generally it's been going well so far. Some people have even said it's going even more smoother than the previous 4 years because some polling stations have been divided. I think there's this thing they've done, and so it's reduced the queues in certain areas. So far so good.
Somebody said it is boring.
Yeah, to that extent, and I think that confirms some of what we've observed so far. In fact, yesterday, some people started coming together, bringing themselves together to see if they could start organizing, getting their positions in places. And I saw a video of places where people had already tried to amass at the voting places. Some were just dancing and playing drums and just trying to organize themselves to show that there's something going on. And I was like, wow, I've not seen a lot of democracies like this before, where this amount of popular culture or is a way of galvanizing people is fused into the election process. And so I think generally Ghana's position as a peaceful democracy, at least up to the second, is still intact, as far as we are concerned. I've also monitored some international reporting as well. As a matter of fact, I was on some networks in Nigeria and across the continent, and there has been some reporting from different places across the world. And I think our position as, a beacon of democracy is still intact, but it's really, really early days yet, so we can only hope and pray that it's maintained until after the process, because the real concern, as he said, happens after the voting takes place, so
when results starts coming in and people start seeing their smoothness level, then they start coming up with all kinds of agitations.
So there's the pre-voting agitations, then there's the voting day process itself, then the counting process, and then the post-election or post-voting. I mean, that's all of that could lead to, and then the social media as well. Some of the trouble could be brewing on social media through fake news, misinformation, flyers flying in here that they found some ballot boxes somewhere, and that could also instigate people to go in and do something. So I think cautious optimism. Let's see how.
So on that last point that you made, before I go to Dr. Abuahin, there's this comment that is being made that electoral materials are allegedly stolen, and voting is yet to commence in Tatale. And so that is a report that we are receiving. We have not independently we cannot independently be confirmed because it doesn't state who has stolen it and what the circumstances are, but we are sending our reporter there to Tatale to verify this information that we are receiving, and we will bring updates on same as we go on. But Professor Dr. Tutu Buahin, you have been with me much earlier than Mr. Jantua and Professor Sikanku. So tell me your observation. You voted where? In which constituency?
Ablekuma Central.
Oh, Ablekuma Central. Okay. Earlier on, I received some report that certain polling stations in Ablekuma Central had not started voting, but you were able to vote.
Exactly.
Which was your polling station?
Wesley Grammar.
Oh, the school.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So far, process smooth as far as you know?
Yes, as I said earlier, when I got there, I didn't even spend more than 10 minutes and I was off. And I saw that the process is just flowing. And I feel that if you are not careful, people in that polling station may vote earlier than the 5 p.m. estimated time. I think that one of the things that is also helping is the increase, in the number of polling stations this time around, and it will ease pressure in specific, polling stations. And so I feel that yes, the process is good, is smooth. Burdens have been eased. With the exception of what Mr. Jantua also said, Lawyer Jantua also said, I agree with him because I also observed similar one in the lack of disposable bins to collect some of these materials. And again, I also observed that some people, they'll finish voting and then we are still, standing around and that kind of thing. We want to use this platform medium, to appeal to people that if you don't have anything doing, just go, so that you prevent the tendency of making certain pronouncements that will probably incite others to act irresponsibly. And I think that Ghana has come that far, in our democratic dispensation. Ghana is highly respected. In fact, I was listening to the British High Commissioner, and I think that she was full of praise. The comment that she made, the confidence in the police service and the confidence also in the process, was that high. And I think that we should be proud as a nation going forward, and we shouldn't do anything, to mar this, this kind of image that we have created. We are all helping. Actually, I should probably be sleeping by now. Yesterday, I left one station, around it was getting to 2 a.m. when I got to the house. All right. And so we are all sacrificing, not because of anything, but just to ensure that the processes that we are going through, will be something that, posterity will be proud of to inherit. And not to leave a Ghana where there's trouble. You can't stay, you can't have, you can't move freely. We don't want such situations in this country. So I think that we should all be responsible in our dealings.
Okay, so yes, very interesting preliminary comments on how the process has gone, and the picture that is painted, at least for my understanding now, is that it looks like everywhere we have all been, it is smooth. The reports we have had so far from our reporters across the country is showing that the processes started quite early in several places, and then in other places, even though it started late, they caught up. And then we are also hearing that people are queuing to vote. That means that people are interested in participating in the process. Yes. That is also very key. And then we've seen some of the top people voting. We've seen Matthew Opoku Prempeh voting very early in Menchia. And then we've seen Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia also voting very early in Wale Wale. We haven't heard of former President Mahama yet, but we know he's voting in Bole Bamboy. Yes, that's his hometown, isn't it? Bole. And then his running mate, Madame Jane Nana Opoku, my professor, is voting in the central region. Mm-hmm. Yes, and then the president is voting in his hometown in Ebuakwa. And the former president, Kufuor, we know usually votes at his home at airport. Mm-hmm. So we don't know whether he will descend the mountains and come and vote there. Mm-hmm. We'll keep an eye on that. And then all the other presidential candidates, Alan Chemanting, Cheddar, and all the others, we are keeping an eye on all of those developments. And once we get the feed, we would inform. We have reporters who are all over the country in all 276 constituencies, at least majority of them. We have reporters there who are coming in with reports on this development. Okay, so there are various developments ongoing, and we will be going to our correspondents as they feed us with information on those developments. And so Jonathan Ofori in the Ashanti region is telling us that the Deputy Defense Minister and Ekwima Kwahuma lawmaker is urging vigilance following arrest of NDC's an NDC voter in Fuaso or Fuase. Fuase, yes. Okay, so I don't see O here. It's Foasu.
Fuase.
So Fuase, yes. Okay.
It's supposed to be, I don't know though, but is it in Ashanti region?
Yes.
Yeah, that's of Fuase.
Of Fuase. Okay, so there's an omission of the O. Okay, so we are keeping an eye on those developments, and once we get a feed, we would bring you all the updates. But back here in the studio with my guests who are here, I'll come to you, Professor H.S. Kanku, and that is to say that, how I'm interested in how we wrapped up this campaigning season, how it was wrapped up. What would be we had the two major political parties doing their last rallies. We had former president and in fact Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia addressing the nation. Subsequently, we had the President of the Republic also addressing the nation yesterday evening, and that's about how we wrapped up. Fast forward, we've had the former President John Mahama issuing a statement and raising some concerns, and that's how he wrapped up yesterday. And then the NDC as a party also raising some concerns about the deployment of military into various communities. And the simple answer my panel yesterday gave to that was that the military is in the barracks. They are deployed on the day before the election, so that they will be close to the communities. He says that the example they gave is that if you go to the Volta region, there's a barracks somewhere in Ho, but from Ho to Kweve is about 4 or something hours. And so if the military are kept in the barracks and then wait for something to go wrong at Kweve before you deploy them, it will take them 4 hours to get to the place on the day. that means that it will be counterproductive. So the reason why the armed forces over the years will always deploy a day before, and you will see them visibly in communities but not at voting centers, is because of these things. So I just want your thoughts on how this whole electioneering campaign season ended. You think it ended well, or it could have ended in a better note?
No, I think it did end well. We had the closing arguments that were held on Thursday by most of the political parties. You go to the on the side of the NPP, I don't think they said anything new or they said anything different. Most people just try to re-emphasize what their closing arguments were, or to reiterate what their major campaign issues were. You look on the side of the NDC, they also brought out their big wigs to kind of push the message. They had Esidu Ketia, the usual corporate. They had their communications directorate, Malik, and the rest coming in. And then finally, former President John Mahama also coming in, emphasizing their message of resetting infrastructure and all of that. You come to the MPP side, and they also, of course, they depended on Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the main speaker or as the highlight of the event. But if you realize, the MPP also made use of surrogates. The Kufuor factor, being in there, you mentioned that. And that is something that we should not ignore, because Kufuor has transcended from a partisan identity into a more statesman-like or national identity. And so the deployment of such a former president just a few days or a day or two before the elections was very, very tactical, in order to appeal to people who are not necessarily partisans, and people who still kind of see him as a father figure, as transcending the partisan rubric. And then we also had Samira and other people speak at that event as well. They didn't say anything new, they didn't say anything different, just doing their closing arguments and then ending the event. Ending the event. The fact that the two events were held closely together, but there was no violence or tension whatsoever, I think it's also something that was observable, that we're able to do this, and all the fears that maybe because the events were close together something will happen, all of that didn't come to pass. And then we had yesterday, which was Friday, everybody kind of went back into their strategic areas. The security folks did what they had to do. I think one major thing that we are seeing also is that the various parties every now and again issue their statements with concerns. If you monitor the NDC, every now and again within this yesterday and today, it's not just the former president. I think the former president issued a very major statement regarding his concerns about the integrity of the process. But beyond that, Dr. Mani Buama and Fifi Kwete have also been intermittently bringing out concerns. The latest one that I think Omani Buama brought out, I've lost it, but the latest one that he brought out, I believe, was concerns about the ballot papers somewhere in Ashanti region, which he made public. Which he made public. Then not too long from there, so I think he said the Atia polling station in Dwabin in the Ashanti region, parts A and B of the pink sheet has not been filled. And he goes on to make statements and said, we are here to insist that the right thing is done. And just 2 hours ago, these are developing things. The position of the NDC.
I'm even getting even more disturbing news, and that is because it is being said that in a polling station in Kintampo, it is called Bayire polling station in Apesika, and they are saying that in that polling station, the ballot issuer has decided to tear off Dr. Bawumia's photo on 15 ballot papers that he issued so far. And that means that such ballots have lost their serial numbers. Voting has since been suspended in this particular polling area. You know, Dr. Baum. Yeah, so what he's saying is that, you know, Dr. Baumia's picture is first, number one. Yes. And that means that it's also close to the serial numbers. Yes. And the person who is tearing the ballot papers decides that he will tear off Baumia's picture. But in doing that, it means that he's tearing off and starting from the number 2. And when you do that, it means that the ballot paper itself is no longer valid.
Not valid.
Because you have taken off the serial number. So in this polling station, voting has been halted, and it's quite heated, I'm being told. I'm also being told that in Medina, in the Medina constituency, it appears there was some friction between one police CID and a party agent. And so there's some confusion in one of the locations in Medina. There is someone there, and we would try and manage and speak to the person, Joel Crapper. Joel Crapper is in that Medina area where there's this confusion. In the Kintampo, we are trying to raise our correspondent in the Kintampo polling station where someone is there. But please, I think that we need to address this issue. The ballot issuer cannot take the law into your own hands and decide that you are taking one contestant out of it. You're actually messing up the people who are voting. You are messing up everything there, because the ballot paper, once it is open during counting, it is rejected.
I mean, this is criminal. You see, it is criminal, and I think that, you know, that person should be brought to book as early as possible.
Okay.
And, you know, when UTAG met.
Okay, Doc, Prof, just hold on a second for me. I want to take a quick trip to Abeka, and that's because one of our colleagues here is on the ground there and reporting that there are some difficulties. Nanekuya, what can you report from where you are? Hello, Nanekuya, if you can hear me,
your call has been put on hold.
Okay, all right. So sadly, our call has been put on hold, and so we will try and re-establish contact with Nanekuya so she brings us the report on what is happening in the Abeka area. I don't know the specific place, but once we get to her, we will know the specific area. Dr. Tutubwa, please go ahead with your thoughts you were sharing on this matter.
Yes, with respect to what has happened in Idapa West.
No,
okay.
Kintampo.
Kintampo, yes.
I think that behavior is very criminal.
Criminal. Okay, on that criminal note, let me see if I can get Nanekuya back. Nana, good morning to you, Nanekuya. Hello, Nanekuya. Okay, so Nanekuya is on the line, but she appears not to be hearing me when I speak. She's in Abeka, in a specific place where there seem to be some disturbances. Nanekuya, if you can hear me, let's try it again. What's happening where you are? Okay, so let's move on. Doc, and I hope I don't... Nanekuya? Hello? Okay, so until we fix this problem, please let's allow the process to go on here. Doc, please complete your submission.
So, as I'm saying, that behavior is criminal. In the first place, I would think that the security agencies should investigate, and if the person is found culpable, you know, should be arrested immediately. And it also sends a signal to EC officials and the people that they actually appoint, you know, to mine some of these polling stations. What actually informed, you know, that contract, and what decision went into it, what kind of investigations were conducted as background checks on some of these individuals. I mean, if somebody has that can do this, then it means that that person has a very strong, you know, political affiliation, and that person is coming, you know, with a set mentality. All right. So if investigations have been done, background checks have been done on this individual, then of course we wouldn't get such incident appearing. I'm not saying that people with strong political affiliations, probably don't have integrity. No, that's not what I'm saying. But at least people who probably have certain criminal records, or people who, we know within certain communities that their conduct is not, supportive of this democratic process. I don't think that we should allow such people, to be recruited to mine some of these essential positions. And when UTAG met, the National Election, Security Task Force team led by Dr. Dampare, he categorically mentioned some of these behaviors and how the police is going to deal with it. And I think that probably some of us who were privy to, some of these communication as his audience, we are also following up to see how he's going to deal with such behaviors and to serve as a deterrent, between today and tomorrow, to certain behaviors that probably, if not checked, may throw our hard-earned democracy into, some kind of disgrace. I think that this person should be dealt with.
It should be dealt with. Okay, so I think we can go back and see if we can try Nanekwia again at Abeka. Nanekwia, good morning to you. What can you report?
Hello?
Yes. What can you report from where you are? Tell us first, where are you and what is happening?
Okay, if you can hear me, I'm at Abeka. That is Okaikwe Central, where Honorable Patrick Albuama and Baba Sadiq are contesting for the parliamentary elections.
So, Nanekwia, what is the situation? We understand there's some misunderstanding.
All right, so can you hear me? Because I can't hear you.
We can hear you very well.
Okay, so there's chaos here, the NDC side and the MPP side, but now we are the party headquarters, where the NDC guys are saying that the MPP are sharing money here. So the thugs are here from the MPP side and the NDC side, and it's all chaotic. But then I have someone with me who can explain properly, because I just got here.
All right, so we've been trying to establish contact with Nanekwia in the he says it's in the Okaikwe Central constituency, and that is where some allegations are being made about money sharing. We would try and verify the authenticity of those claims that are being made, so that we don't use anything to mar this ongoing election process, which started very, very well. So yes, we will come back to the studio, but there are several things, and I have a friend, Amos Kevin Annan, who says that arrival at polling station 9:45, done casting my ballot 10:25, departed the voting station 10:30, and it's New Jerusalem Pentecost Center, and then he says that I am Ato Ganaba. Okay, so Ganaba, thank you for exercising your constitutional duty and by voting. It didn't take you so long. You got there at 9:45. Maybe you were in the queue for some time, and then within 20 minutes, you was able to get access to the ballot paper, cast his ballot, and then leaves the place within a matter of 30 to 35 minutes. And so, yes, that is fine. If everybody goes through that process, I think we should be done with this process in no time. Okay, so I thank you for your message, Kevin Amos Annan, and for your vote. Mr. Kwame Jantwa, a quick comment about this ballot tearing exercise ongoing in some places.
It's criminal. It shouldn't be encouraged. But what I want to see is that such an individual, if that has happened, we want to see the police deal with him. It's not just a question of, oh, he's done it, so let's stop him. We need to deal with that individual. He's disrupting the process of voting. How can you go and tear ballot paper? How? What thinking? What kind of mindset is that? And then you see the challenge is that you now come and blame it on a political party. It is weird, and it is nonsensical. You don't have to encourage it. It is very, very wrong. Nobody should do that. Look, Dr. Baumia, is he somebody who isn't a fine gentleman? Is he somebody who isn't a Ghanaian? Does he not have the right to do what? To stand? Does anybody in Ghana here? Don't we have rights? If Wilberforce, you want to go and stand as president, can anybody stop you? If you get your name on the ballot sheet, won't your picture be there? Won't it be wrong for anybody to tear your ballot sheet? You might not get one vote, but that isn't the issue. And we shouldn't encourage such, excuse my English, nonsense
your
that
French.
we do.
You don't speak English.
Okay.
It's wrong.
Lawyer doesn't speak English.
It's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. So
can you imagine if this was happening in a lot of polling stations?
Yeah.
The chaos.
Yeah.
And then apart from that, there's a scheduled time for this voting to end. By 5, it should finish. Is it not extending the time? Is it not going to create challenges?
Yeah.
No, we shouldn't be doing that kind of
And
thing.
I have actually seen a picture of the torn ballot papers. And so what it is that this person just strikes through Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia's face. And so
with what?
When he's tearing the paper, instead of tearing from the top, the booklet is designed such that it easily tears. It is stitched so that
when I went to vote,
yes,
the lady was tearing it for me, and it was a fine tear. So I asked her.
Yes.
So if you tear and it kind of perforates as you're tearing, what happens? She says she would have to account for it, but it's a spoiled ballot sheet and she cannot use it. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
No, but lawyer, I'm even still thinking about how, because at my place, you have the vertical and then the vertical and the horizontal, right? Now, the way the ballot paper is, you have to probably tear it from the vertical side, which is attached to the booklet.
Yes.
Yes, today I am
at the horizontal and especially at the top where it will affect even the serial number.
So the picture is going to be shown on our Facebook portal. So those of you who are watching on Facebook, you get to see the picture and how the ballot papers, about 15 of them. That
He tore 15.
15, yes.
Now, did he snatch a booklet? Is that what he snatched?
No, so
how did he get hold of the 15?
No, he is the one who is tearing for people to vote. So when you went to vote,
he's an electoral commission.
He's an officer.
Oh, gee, even worse.
Yeah, it's an official.
Even
because
worse.
You can't have access to the booklet if you are not an official.
Even worse.
Yes. So he's the very official who is responsible for.
I thought it was an ordinary Ghanaian.
No. It's an official.
He's an electoral commission official.
Yes, the official who is tearing.
He is not meant to be in that position. There. He doesn't deserve to be in that position.
Okay,
because
so
he's supposed
if you're on Facebook, you can see. So if you look at it, you'll see that you will see the Dr. Bawumia's picture is like he's torn half of it away. So he's tearing it from the top. Instead of tearing it from the actual place, he puts his hand or something and tears it through the picture. So that is extremely criminal, and it's totally unacceptable. So
wasn't he trained?
But
they train them.
This is certainly intentional.
Whatever the case is, they train them.
Yes, but this can only be intentional. This cannot be a mistake.
You see where the trouble can start from. From the Electoral Commission itself, the trouble can start from there. I've narrated what happened this morning. Now this second one, and people see it. What happens? No.
So we draw the attention of the police, and I've seen a message from Safo who says that please, urgent attention needed, need taken. Kintampo North election officer, that's evil, and so that's Safo also confirming this thing that we are talking about in Kintampo, and so the officials at Kintampo North, please take note of this and deal with this officer swiftly. Move that person from there with the speed of lightning so that he doesn't disrupt this beautiful process that we are all doing to elect a president and members of parliament for our country. Please move the person away. Okay, so there is Baba Chema who says that Dan casting mine and it was a very smooth process. Let's all go out there and cast our vote for a decisive victory, and then the security must deal with the said gentleman, like Mr. Jantua is saying. If the security allows some of these things to go through, we risk marring the whole process. And yes, I agree with you, Baba.
But you know something I observed yesterday when talking about wrapping up of political rallies on the Association School Road. You see, all the rallies of the MPP and NDC were being held that part of town.
Yes.
On the Association School Road, supporters were in these trucks with their flags, MPP flags, you know, waving, singing, with all music in the tracks. The second truck, guess which truck it was? Guess which truck the second truck was? NDC. Doing the same thing. And I thought it was quite beautiful and peaceful that, you know, two opposite parties going to a rally, one was following the other, and there were no skirmishes. Nobody, you know, was hooting at anybody. They were all jama in their trucks heading for their rallies. I think it was a beautiful scene, and that is the kind of scene we want through this process of elections. Even at the time of counting, the good thing I think the Electoral Commission too has done is the fact that they have allowed the media to be part and parcel of the coalition. So they'll be there. So if any wuru-wuru is going to go on, then it probably will go on before what you call it, the actual figures do come up. But I like to think, and I'm sure that hopefully this would be one of the finest elections we've had if the process that is being followed would follow right through till the votes are counted and announced.
Okay, so Nick Bacosta Moha-Ado has just walked into the studio. He has finished with his party assignments for now, for this morning, all his clandestine moves. He has finished all of them, and so he's now walking into the studio.
It's his love for Asasi. That's why he has come.
I know. So good morning to you.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
And welcome. How is Trobo?
Trobo is good. Trobo is good. Let me say good morning to my branch members on duty at His Grace.
His Grace 1 and 2.
No, His Grace A.
Okay.
They've done very, very well. All the volunteers that helped us. I've not been asleep for the past probably 24 hours. First thing we do at a branch is to make sure that your people are fed. So that's part of the responsibilities, you know. If you're a branch chairman. Let me say a big shout out to my coordinator, ward coordinator Jamal. He's doing a fantastic job. You know, this morning we've been able to feed 400 of our polling agents. That's 10 per polling station just for the Pokwase ward, which is like 38 branches. So breakfast, you can do the budget yourself. We are doing lunch, we are doing supper. I just want to assure all my polling agents that they have absolutely nothing to worry about when it comes to their welfare. They'll be very well taken care of, because most of the time that's part of the initial hitches that you have. If your polling agents are angry because they are hungry, you are in trouble. You know. But let me also commend the EC for the smooth exercise in some of the areas. I think there are a few problems with some areas, but honestly, I've voted since '96, and this is the first time I voted in like under 3 minutes. You know, in my area, for example, they have spread out the polling in according to names. According to names, and that helped us a great deal, because you are A, you have your table, you have B, you have your table. So it was a very smooth exercise, and I think that if they could, I think the challenge is the places where you have a lot of.
Okay, I'm sorry, but there's a bit happening in Lejekuku constituency, and so let's go there. I understand that there are some issues to do with foreign voters or something of that sort. Let's go to Lejekuku quickly, and joining us on the telephone line is our correspondent from Lejekuku. Hello.
He's off. I think he's off. That's a hot one. Oh, but don't worry, we'll get Lejekuku. You know, yes, so you see, in those areas, I think that the EC should they should do a post-mortem of the elections. Where they got it right. They should be able to replicate it, because if areas, there are certain areas in Pokwase Methodist, for example, that used to be a cluster. So that had you used to have 8 or 9 polling stations at one place. And you used to see queues. Today, there were no queues. And I think that if that can be done in a densely populated area like Pokwase, you should be able to replicate it elsewhere.
But is that not what is being replicated everywhere?
So the problem is, some of the problems that we used to have. In fact, this one, some of the things have been improved. Honestly, in 2020, we used to have issues with standing and canopies. I've seen some of the videos where it seems even the parties have taken the initiative to provide canopies and chairs, But they did something this year which enabled, and I think it was the alphabetical thing. So all the alphabet A people were put to one table, B to one table, C to. If they have to do that all over, they should do it because it actually reduces time. In fact, in Pokwase, for example, I'm speaking Pokwase because that's where at my polling station, you can see there is no queue. When my mother was alive, and when you go, normally they'll have the elderly vote first. You understand? So they will queue, and then they will. But today, I can tell you, you go, you have your card, you show it. They will just tell you. The agents will help you points. Of course, they take advantage of that to tell you whisper something to your ears. And I think they should try and stop that because that is also not correct. Where agents are allowed to be speaking directly to the voters. What is supposed to be the EC officials that should be speaking directly to the voters, not the party agents who then speak directly to the voters and start suggesting where you should vote. But I think that they have been able to get something right with doing the alphabets. And I think they should replicate it because it has cut down queues in an area like mine. My area is densely populated. So for them to be able to have you see everybody comes in within 5 minutes, they're out.
Yes, Dr. Tutu Buahin voted in 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
2 minutes.
Okay, so there is an address by the police. The police is addressing the press. So let's quickly go and take a listen to what the police is saying, and then we'll come there. Because of all the things happening, I'm sure the police wants to set the record straight.
But what you are saying is true. I was on a Nigerian.
Okay, the police press conference is not going on. Please complete your
process. I think that they should do the postmortem. They should do the postmortem. They should do the postmortem and be able to get this thing right. Because look, this election generally in some areas is an improvement from 2020, without a doubt. Without a doubt, the queues in certain areas have been completely eliminated. And that is the plus for them. What I think they should do is to take it up and ensure, that's part of the institutional memory, that if you maintain the team and you are able to improve the system, we should be able to get to the point where we will be able to see a seamless exercise, where people come in, you show your card, within a few minutes you are out. Because you see, it makes the voting process such a comfortable process that there's no tension. You see, when people are masked up, then there's tension. All these pockets of areas you are seeing, there are shamans, anywhere you hear there's tension, it's because there's a cluster of people. But if the person comes and he just takes this thing to the table, everything is on, they move quickly, there's nothing, there's no tension.
You know, one thing that surprised me when I went today, when I got to the table, it took less than a second for them to find my name.
Exactly. It's because you're alphabetical.
Yeah. Normally, I was expecting them running through it. Second. I said, hey, this thing is good.
So there's some efficiency.
Yes.
No. You see, if you've not experienced it, probably, or if there is a problem, with the process at your polling station, then you have the cause to complain. But if you have experienced it the way
96,
I did this morning,
2020, that look. Yes, I used to vote at ACP, the gates. We had to queue and queue and queue. You'll be a queue for even if you come at 2 o'clock. I think people, because of the past experience, some of the places where you're having low turnout is because people want to come at 2 o'clock, where they know that there will be less. But I'm assuring everybody that you go out there, go early, because it's a very, very quick process.
You know, I told you that by the time we get there by 3 p.m., you wouldn't find.
I actually can understand why. I was telling one of my team members that I now understand why the EC chair said we can actually close the poll at 3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock.
It is very possible.
Yeah.
If we master the system that we have now and they improve it, we can actually close our polls early.
That's the key word, master.
We must master it.
Master.
Not just, I mean, okay, probably the word mastering would probably include efficiency and capabilities, right? But I feel that if we should keep developing this process, I tell you, I mean, probably one day the US will come to Ghana to come and learn from us.
Yeah. I mean, just to
that sounds interesting.
Yeah, what they are both saying.
But
like I
it
said,
won't be strange.
No, it won't be strange. I mean, the United Kingdom is copying our Ghana card.
Yes.
Yeah. They are now going to do a Ghana card, like a UK card.
Not that one alone. Even the drone, I mean, which featured
my son said
in the US
with this election,
policy
he had
campaign.
to show a card, an ID card, with this election in the UK recently.
Before?
Yes.
Okay.
And the good thing is that if you've lost your voter ID card, don't be dismayed.
Yes.
Go with your Ghana card.
In fact, one of my...
They can identify you with it, and once you can be verified, and the verification was also very smooth.
In fact, while on air, 2 people have called me. One of them, a senior bishop in my church, and another one, a very good friend. And all of them called me because they can't find their voters' ID card. And I told them they should just go and just tell the officers. They have gone, told the officers, and they voted. Within a matter of 5 minutes, they have all voted and gone.
And they go back to you that they voted.
They voted, yes.
Wow. Yeah, no, you see, like I said, one of the reasons I couldn't go out was because I had to be on a news central in Nigeria. So I spent time there this morning. And they had a reporter, interestingly, in Kumasi and in other places. And the reporter corroborates what all of you are saying.
Oh, but the Nigerians can't compare themselves to us when it comes to
they were not even comparing. It was just
it's like you are comparing.
It was just a report. I don't even think
apples and onions.
Yeah, it wasn't a discussion. It was a typical report. But they were all full of praise. Like, they were amazed because they had their man there live actually showing what was going on, and everybody could see the smooth process. It was live on TV. They were confirming it. He talked about the fact that he couldn't see soldiers there. There was no tensious atmosphere. There is no a curfew or anything. They were quite surprised that the place was so quiet, almost to the extent of being boring, as you said. And he also narrated that people came in, and within a few minutes they were able to vote and go. And they asked him about the atmosphere, and he said, no, there's no care. People are going to work. They come their market. Let me say market, not work. They come and vote, and they go about their normal businesses. And there was no traffic in town. You don't have to wait for a long time before you vote, and that people literally just come, vote, and then go back to exactly what they were doing before they came. And that really, really, really affirms a lot of what the discourse that we've said over here. In the US, even they had till if not that Trump won this year, people were still unwilling to accept the result of 2020, concerns with the integrity of the 2020 elections. So it's not far-fetched, that you would say that, well, there are things that they need to learn. But like we are saying, the difference between what happens after the election and what goes on now is always like night and day. You wouldn't believe it's the same country. So we just have to hope and pray that the post-election period mirrors.
I also think that, you see, I've seen some military presence in town. Even in Trobo, my constituency.
I saw someone else.
I saw a white pickup with some soldiers in it going around. I know they are supposed to play a supporting role. But you see, the optics is what the problem is, and that's why you are seeing some very unhealthy confrontations in certain towns. You understand? It shouldn't be. You understand? A police officer, a soldier, was almost lynched in K2 yesterday. You understand? It's not right. We shouldn't. There's a good reason why the police is the lead agency when it comes to law enforcement in an election, because it's a civilian exercise. You understand? And the parties are indeed naturally suspicious because the military have a certain posture as compared to the police. So we plead with the Chief of Defense Staff. I know they are in charge of national security. This is not Boko. You understand? In an area like Boko where there's an ongoing conflict, I can understand when there's a deployment of military. You understand? Even as a backup. But especially in Greater Accra. When you deploy the soldiers in certain areas, I know you want to make sure that they are quick to react. But the reactionary, that's why you should have garrisons. You understand? And advisedly, you should have garrisons.
In the absence of garrisons,
in the absence of garrisons, whatever your deployment strategy is, you understand? Either you do a joint patrol that has both military and police. You understand? So that the citizenry is comfortable. Because the citizenry is charged when they see the soldiers. They have a feeling that, and I keep emphasizing this as well. When you have a Minister of Interior and a Minister of Defense as contestants, they cannot be in it's completely wrong.
Conflict.
It's just a direct conflict of roles. You understand? Because clearly, I am more than inclined, if I'm a contestant, to exercise power.
Yeah.
You understand? To exercise power and to put in place or to call upon the military to come to my aid when I feel that there's something going on in my constituency. So it is important that in future elections, when we have a situation where the Minister of Defense and the Minister of Interior are also contesting elections, they must automatically be made to resign from their positions. So that you have a person who has no direct interest in the outcome of the election.
Let me ask you, who has the right to call the military?
See, the point that this
is the Minister of Defense, is the Minister of Interior,
those in the queues, they are more than
in other jurisdictions. We have a situation where the Electoral Commissioner is also in charge of security.
Per the briefing I was talking to you about.
I was just going to talk about it.
Yes.
The task force briefing.
We all know that, but the practicality of the situation and some of the
I think for now, no, I'm just responding.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for now, the one responsible for calling the military
is the IGP. Yes, we know that is the chairman. But you see, the problem is that we have not put this in law.
Yeah.
Number one, we don't have an election security management law. We need
even
to
in
have
the constitution,
we need to have it in law.
Yes.
Because number one, the president is the commander in chief.
Yes, he is. You can't usurp his position.
You cannot. But you can at least for purposes of elections have a structure.
No, but whatever the case is, you need to get an authorization from him to be able
not
to
necessarily.
Do it.
See, because the president does not at Beba Cap. He doesn't know the everyday.
No, but you get briefings. No,
you get briefings. But he doesn't. What he's saying is that
he doesn't interfere with the day to day.
I know, but with situations like elections,
see, the problem is we are developing as a country.
Yes,
and if we're able to have, if we really be able to think that we should have a national elections security task force, and we even have had the brain wave that we should put the IGP as the commander of that task force, and that it is a largely civilian-led exercise. He only needs to call upon the military as and when.
So that is actually the focus of that.
That's what I'm saying. That we should legislate it. We must legislate something like that, because you see, the problem is that when you have a situation where you have the regional, for example, I felt the Ashanti Regional Security Council's press release was an aberration.
Yes, it was an aberration.
It was unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
Because when you do these things, you raise unnecessary tensions.
But some have also said that the NDC statement it issued yesterday was also unnecessary.
Listen, at all material times, it is only the ruling government that has the coercive powers of state at its disposal. At any given, and they have a higher burden and a higher responsibility to ensure that there is peace. If we have this embodied in law, that during elections, it is the IGP that is the head of the task force. He is the one with sole responsibility for deployments and all those things. When the man knows that this is the law and he is deploying these groups, you will know that ultimately.
But is it not enshrined in law to the extent that when it comes to issues of internal security,
no, you don't.
It is the police that.
So that is why for Techiman, for example,
that is why I'm thinking that, you see, yes, the Constitution should be able to capture that in future. But now that we don't have it in the Constitution,
it should be in law, statute.
Yes, okay, fine. So now that it is not within that, description, the national election,
security task force, yes,
security task force is in charge now.
Yes.
Now, in that meeting with UTAG, the CSO,
yes,
the head of the military,
the
CDS, made it clear. I think it's stated in my diary, and what he said was that they are not going to be directly involved,
yes,
in managing of the polling stations. Correct. And all that, and that they will only come when
they are called upon.
And I think that the British High Commissioner even reiterated.
So far, there's no record of the military being involved at any polling station.
So I just want to do a follow up on what he said. Now, I am of the opinion that moving on the streets of Accra shouldn't probably create some kind of fear, because you've seen the military patrolling. Now, let's see, even in Accra, the military bases in Accra, Bema Camp, Ewak, and then the one at what's the name? Ashaman, the Teshi, and then the Ashaman areas. So if something is happening at, let's say, Nima, which is will require the intervention. By the time you call them from the nearest military barracks to the place, whatever probably will have to happen has happened. Now, I am of the opinion that if they are moving around and they are not causing trouble, that is fine. If they are moving around and they are causing trouble, then the head, which is Dr. Adam Parry, should immediately, address that issue.
So he doesn't take. See, the problem is, even though they work together,
yes,
they have different command and control structures.
So let's just take a little break. Let's go to the Ashanti region, and that's because we are receiving a report that a 16-year-old attempted to vote, and it looks like he's raised some issues there. Let's quickly get a report on that, and then we'll come back and continue the conversation. Michael Okai is our man there. He's in Krofrom constituency in the Ashanti region. Michael, if you can hear us, tell us, what is the development in the constituency where you are? Who is the 16-year-old who tried to vote?
Hello?
Yes, Michael.
Hello?
Yes, Michael, can you hear me?
Okay. Please, it seems the voice is very down for me.
Okay, Michael, I'm saying
very
that...
down for my hearing.
Michael, listen to me now. I'm saying that, can you report to us what is happening in the constituency where you are?
Yeah, currently I'm at Sadanse Akufo. I'm at Akufo constituency. Polling station, the name of the polling station is Akufo ICT Center.
Yes, and we are told that a 16-year-old attempted to vote. What are the facts of this matter?
Yeah, a group of people consider they are considering the girl to be 16-year-old, but then I asked the mother, and then the mother was saying the daughter is the daughter is right. It is if the daughter is more than 25 years old. And then,
but did this lady have a voter's ID card?
Did you allow her to vote?
Okay, so did the person have a voter's ID card?
Yeah, she came with a voter's ID card, suggesting that she is currently at 25-year-old girl.
And so, who is the one accusing her of being 16-year-old? Who is it? The presiding officer or party agents? Who is accusing her of being underage?
Yes, it was some of the party agents.
Which party agent? Which party?
Yeah, I think the NPP party agent
were accusing this girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, was accusing the girl.
And what is the evidence that they provided for the accusations they were making?
Yeah, so I think the woman came with a birth set, and then all the cacophonies were being kept down.
Okay, all right. So do we know what happened to this girl?
A confirmation from the birth set suggests that the girl is currently a 25-year-old, but maybe some physically challenged person has resulted that kind of problem.
Okay, so was this girl allowed to vote? Was she allowed to vote?
Yeah, she was being allowed to vote.
Okay, Michael, thank you. Michael, thank you for your reporting. We will come back to you when we need any updates. So that's our reporter there in Krofrom in the Ashanti region saying that some new Patriotic Party officials challenged a lady as being underaged, and she brought her birth certificate to authenticate her age as being 25, and then she was allowed to subsequently exercise her constitutional duty to vote. Safu says that please, Wilberforce, kindly draw the EC's attention to the Kintampo Beyera polling station tearing of ballot papers where Dr. Bahamo Dubamia's face is. It deserves urgent attention. Okay, so we have done that. Okay, so somebody is correcting my pronunciation of Akrofrom. So it's rather Akrofrom, not Krofrom.
Kumasi.
Krofrom is in Kumasi.
Yes.
Okay, and then Akrofrom is in the Ashanti region, but not in Kumasi. Okay, so there's confusion at Asawase as party agents try to convince someone to vote for Manaf. And Jonathan, our correspondent, is in the Ashanti region in Asawase constituency. Jonathan, if you can hear me, take it away. What is happening in Asawase?
Well, Wilberforce, I'm currently at the Peace Preparatory School 1, and we have 4 polling stations here. That is where the incumbent MP for Asawase, Muntaka Mubarak, is expected to vote. But earlier, his main opponent, Ibrahim, was also at the Akurim DAJHS to also cast his ballot. He decided to join the queue, a very long one, I must say, but that erupted a confusion after an NDC agent made an attempt to get him from the queue to just go to the Electoral Commission side to pass through the process. He indicated that Manaf's actions smacks of an attempt to buy votes, and that, he says, is not the laid down procedure for parliamentary candidates. And so that sparked some confusion at that particular place. But the police officers and officers in charge managed to whisk this man away. And so Manaf has and he's made his way out of the polling station. At the basic school here, where Muntaka wants to go, if you can hear from the background, there seem to be some